Hello, and welcome to the Technology Leaders Lounge. My name is Dr. Michael Atkin, and in this series, we explore current technologies and talk to some of the experts that are leading the way in these technologies. Today, I have Professor Eric Shappee with me. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you.
Maybe give a little bit of background on your role here at K-State.
Well, I've been here about 25 years, started teaching private pilot ground schools, moved into more aviation history and safety, and found my passion with aviation history and the space program.
So you mentioned the space program. How did you get interested in some of that research?
I ended up taking a few courses working on my doctorate on the space program, and as well as teaching intro to aviation. As you get towards the end of the semester, you start seeing a lot more interesting things come to the space program. That plus the Anasari X Prize when it came out in the 2002 was really inspired my research into this.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a pretty cool event that they had going. How does some of the stuff with the space program today innovate and kind of translate into some of the real world technologies and things that we see in industry?
Well, you have to go back and look at the space program in a whole in general, because I think if you look at our space program, it was very stagnant for a while. Once we got through the Apollo program, people started losing interest. They got into the space shuttle program, did the same thing, but then the cost of that is becoming pretty high as well. So what happened was when we got into the Anasari X Prize with Peter Diamandis putting up the $5 million and then eventually getting from the Anasaris the other $5 for the $10 million, they did a lot of crowdsourcing type of stuff where to get a lot more people involved into solving the problem of getting into space cheaply and reusable.
How do you think some of this kind of relates to, and I guess influences some of the students here at K-State Salina?
I think it inspires them a lot. They actually see, for example, when you take a look at Burt Rutan in his Spaceship One.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a renegade bunch of folks who build composite airplanes, actually just taking information they got from other folks, their own little research, and actually taking an aircraft into space for the first time for the first civilian aircraft.
Yeah.
Where NASA did it with rockets and millions of dollars. I mean, for example, space shuttle, I think you launch a space shuttle, it was $450 million a launch. They took Spaceship One after its development costs and launches. It was $20 million. I mean, a big cost savings right there.
So some of the things that I'm really interested in are like flight simulations, some of this advanced technology for simulation. You mentioned composites,
right.
And those are all kind of big things on this campus. Where do you see some of this technology going in the future as it kind of relates to some of those types of things?
I see more of your spacecraft being more composites. Mm-hmm. Once we figured out how to get back into the atmosphere without having to have heat shields, it opens a new world for composite aircraft to actually make it into space.
Yeah.
When it comes to simulators, even the Anasari X Prize folks were making simulators to test their equipment before they even got into space to make sure everything was functional and it was had all the right buttons and everything like that for the dexterity for the pilots.
Right. Yeah. And so another big thing, of course, we hear it all the time is AI and that technology. Since you've been doing research on this area, how do you see like AI, data analytics, maybe automation playing a role in future maybe private space travel and exploration?
Oh, I think AI is going to be huge. I mean, we can run scenarios with AI. We can come up with procedures with the AI. We can actually come with emergency protocols using AI and test all that in the AI and with simulators. I think it's going to be huge to make it even more safe and more commonplace for just average people to get into space.
Yeah, yeah. All these different things that we do with that are related to space exploration, innovation. I would imagine some of that kind of translates into other areas like maybe advanced manufacturing, even healthcare. How do you see that some of the things that are being developed and researched in this area kind of translating and fitting into some other industries?
I see it's going to be huge. If you look at some of the X Prizes they have now, not just the Anasari X Prize, but some of the other X Prizes, they've had X Prizes set out for space gloves that make more dexterity out there for the pilots to do things. And I see that being more and more useful into the medical field when you're doing surgery and operations of things like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. You know, NASA, some of the things they were doing back in the 80s and 90s with, haptic gloves and VR technology was pretty cool.
Yeah, they have a lot of cool stuff that NASA was doing, and it just really progressed.
Yeah.
I mean, once we got the civilians into the space program, once we figured out the model with the computers, once we have a lot of different minds putting this together, things have really taken off. I mean, if you even look at it now with even the SpaceX and the Artemis 2 going ready back to the moon,
right.
I mean, a lot of that has been driven from the civilian space program. I think a lot of it, if you look at it, has a lot of AI with it.
Yeah, right. So last question, with all the research you've been doing, where do you see this in maybe 5, maybe 10 years from now? You know, where will we be with some of this space technology and exploration?
I think we're going to see more of more commercial travel with it. I think if you look at the SpaceX program where they're doing the tourism in some cases, Blue Origin doing some of the tourism, but Virgin Galactic, they refer themselves as the space line of the world. I see the issue of they're going to get everybody up into the fringes of the atmosphere and get halfway around the world in a fraction of the time.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're going to end up seeing out of this whole process, including with AI and the space program development.
Cool. Well, hopefully I can, maybe we can experience that someday.
I think that will happen in our lifetime.
Yeah,
I really do.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, thanks for chatting with us
Thank you.
on this stuff today, and we'll see you next time.